In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Concerning what are they disputing? Concerning the great news, about which they cannot agree. Verily, they shall soon come to know. Verily, verily, they shall soon come to know. Have we not made the earth as a wide expanse, and the mountains as pegs? And have we not created you in pairs, and made your sleep for rest, and made the night as a covering, and made the day as a means of subsistence? And have we not built over you the 7 firmaments, and placed therein a blazing lamp? And do we not send down from the clouds water in abundance, that we may produce therewith corn and vegetables, and gardens of luxurious growth? Verily, the day of sorting out is a thing appointed, the day that the trumpet shall be sounded, and ye shall come forth in crowds, and the heavens shall be opened as if there were doors, and the mountains shall vanish as if they were a mirage. Truly, hell is as a place of ambush. For the transgressors a place of destination, they will dwell therein for ages. Nothing cool shall they taste therein, nor any drink, save a boiling fluid, and a fluid dark, murky, intensely cold, a fitting recompense for them, for that they used not to look for any account for their deeds. But they impudently treated our signs as false, and all things have we preserved on record. So taste ye the fruits of your deeds, for no increase shall we grant you, except in chastisement. Verily, for the righteous there will be an achievement, gardens enclosed, and grapevines, Madians of equal age, and a cup full to the brim. No vanity shall they hear therein, nor untruth. Recompense from thy Lord, a gift amply sufficient. From the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and all between, the most gracious, none shall have power to argue with him. The day that the Spirit and the angels will stand forth in ranks, none shall speak except any who is permitted by the most gracious, and he will say what is right. That is the true day. Therefore, whoso will, let him take a straight return to his Lord. Verily, we have warned you of a chastisement near, the day when man will see the deeds which his hands have sent forth. And the unbeliever will say, Woe unto me! Would that I were mere dust. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the angels who tear out the souls of the wicked with violence, by those who gently draw out the souls of the blessed, and by those who glide along on errands of mercy, then press forward as in a race, then arrange to do the commands of their Lord. The day everything that can be in commotion will be in violent commotion, followed by oft-repeated commotions. Hearts that day will be in agitation, cast down will be their owners' eyes. They say now, What, shall we indeed be returned to our former state? What, when we shall have become rotten bones? They say, It would, in that case, be a return with loss. But verily, it will be but a single compelling cry. When behold, they will be brought out to the open. Has the story of Moses reached thee? Behold, thy Lord did call to him in the sacred valley of Tuah. Go thou to Pharaoh, for he has indeed transgressed all bounds, and say to him, Wouldst thou that thou shouldst be purified from sin, and that I guide thee to thy Lord, so thou shouldst fear him? Then did Moses show him the great sign. But Pharaoh rejected it and disobeyed guidance. Further, he turned his back, striving hard against Allah. Then he collected his men and made a proclamation, saying, I am your Lord Most High. Allah did punish him and made an example of him in the hereafter as in this life. Verily, in this is a lesson for whosoever feareth Allah. What, are ye the more difficult to create, or the heaven above? Allah hath constructed it. On high hath he raised its canopy. He hath given it order and perfection. Its night doth he endow with darkness, and its splendour doth he bring out with light. And the earth, moreover, hath he extended to a wide expanse. He draweth out therefrom its water and its pasture. And the mountains hath he firmly fixed, a provision for you and your cattle. Therefore, when there comes the great overwhelming event, the day when man shall remember all that he strove for, hellfire shall be placed in full view for him who sees. Then, for such as had transgressed all bounds, and had preferred the life of this world, the abode will be hellfire. And for such as had entertained the fear of standing before their Lord's tribunal, and had restrained their soul from lower desires, their abode will be the garden. They will ask thee about the hour, when will be its appointed time? Wherein art thou concerned with the declaration thereof? With thy Lord is the final end of it. Thou art but a warner for such as fear it. The day they see it, it will be as if they had tarried but a single evening, or at most till the following morn. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. The Prophet frowned and turned away, because there came to him the blind man interrupting. But what could tell thee but that perchance he might grow in purity, or that he might receive admonition, and the reminder might profit him? As to one who regards himself as self-sufficient, to him dost thou attend, though it is no blame to thee if he grow not in purity. But as to him who came to thee striving earnestly, and with fear in his heart, of him wast thou unmindful. By no means should it be so, for it is indeed a message of remembrance. Therefore, let whose will keep it in remembrance. It is in books held greatly in honour, exalted in dignity, kept pure and holy, written by the hands of scribes, honourable and pious and just. Woe to man! What hath made him reject Allah? From what stuff hath he created him? From a sperm drop he hath created him, and then mouldeth him in due proportions. Then doth he make his path smooth for him. Then he causeth him to die, and putteth him in his grave. Then, when it is his will, he will raise him up again. By no means hath he fulfilled what Allah hath commanded him. Then let man look at his food, and how we provide it. For that we pour forth water in abundance, and we split the earth in fragments, and produce therein grain, and grapes and fresh vegetation, and olives and dates, and enclose gardens dense with lofty trees, and fruits and fodder, a provision for you and your cattle. At length, when there comes the deafening noise, that day shall a man flee from his own brother, and from his mother and his father, and from his wife and his children. Each one of them that day will have enough concern of his own to make him indifferent to the others. Some faces that day will be beaming, laughing, rejoicing, and other faces that day will be dust-stained. Darkness will cover them. Such will be the rejectors of Allah, the doers of iniquity. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. When the sun with its spacious light is folded up, when the stars fall, losing their lustre, when the mountains vanish like a mirage, when the she-camels 10 months with young are left untended, when the wild beasts are herded together in human habitations, when the oceans boil over with a swell, when the souls are sorted out, being joined like with like, when the female infant buried alive is questioned for what crime she was killed, when the scrolls are laid open, when the sky is unveiled, when the blazing fire is kindled to fierce heat, and when the garden is brought near. Then shall each soul know what it has put forward. So verily I call to witness the planets that recede, go straight or hide, and the night as it dissipates, and the dawn as it breathes away the darkness. Verily this is the word of a most honourable messenger, endued with power, held in honour by the Lord of the throne, with authority there, and faithful to his trust. And, O people, your companion is not one possessed, and without doubt he saw him in the clear horizon. Neither doth he withhold grudgingly a knowledge of the unseen, nor is it the word of a Satan accursed. When whither go ye? Verily this is no less than a message to all the worlds, with profit to whoever among you wills to go straight. But ye shall not will except as Allah wills, the cherisher of the worlds. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. When the sky is cleft asunder, when the stars are scattered, when the oceans are suffered to burst forth, and when the graves are turned upside down, then shall each soul know what it hath sent forth, and what it hath kept back. O man, what has seduced thee from thy Lord most beneficent? Him who created thee, fashioned thee in due proportion, and gave thee a just bias. In whatever form he wills, doth he put thee together. Nay, but ye do reject the judgment. But verily over you are appointed angels to protect you, kind and honourable, writing down your deeds. They know all that ye do. As for the righteous, they will be in bliss, and the wicked, they will be in the fire, which they will enter on the day of judgment. and they will not be able to keep away therefrom. And what will explain to thee what the day of judgment is? Again, what will explain to thee what the day of judgment is? It will be the day when no soul shall have power to do aught for another, for the command that day will be holy with Allah. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Woe to those that deal in fraud, those who, when they have to receive by measure from men, exact full measure. But when they have to give by measure or weight to men, give less than due. Do they not think that they will be raised up? On a mighty day, a day when all mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds. Nay, surely the record of the wicked is preserved in Sijin. And what will explain to thee what Sijin is? There is a register fully inscribed. Woe that day to those that deny the day of judgment. And none can deny it but the transgressor beyond bounds, the sinner. When our signs are rehearsed to him, he says, Tales of the ancients. By no means, but on their hearts is the stain of the ill which they do. Verily, from the light of their Lord that day will they be veiled. Further, they will enter the fire of hell. Further, it will be said to them, This is the reality which you rejected as false. Nay, verily the record of the righteous is preserved in Ilion. And what will explain to thee what Ilion is? There is a register fully inscribed, to which bear witness those nearest to Allah. Truly the righteous will be in bliss. On raised couches will they command a sight of all things. Thou wilt recognize in their faces the beaming brightness of bliss. Their thirst will be slaked with pure wine sealed. The seal thereof will be musk, and for this let those aspire who have aspirations. With it will be given a mixture of tasnim, a spring from the waters whereof drink those nearest to Allah. Those in sin used to laugh at those who believed, and whenever they passed by them used to wink at each other in mockery, and when they returned to their own people they would return jesting. And whenever they saw them they would say, Behold, these are the people truly astray. But they had not been sent as keepers over them. But on this day the believers will laugh at the unbelievers. On raised couches they will command a sight of all things. Will not the unbelievers have been paid back for what they did? In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. When the sky is rent asunder, and hearkens to the command of its Lord, and it must needs do so, and when the earth is flattened out, and casts forth what is within it, and becomes clean empty, and hearkens to the command of its Lord, and it must needs do so, then will come home the full reality. O thou man, verily thou art ever toiling on towards thy Lord, painfully toiling, but thou shalt meet him. Then he who is given his record in his right hand, soon will his account be taken by an easy reckoning, and he will turn to his people rejoicing. But he who is given his record behind his back, soon will he cry for perdition, and he will enter a blazing fire. Truly did he go about among his people, rejoicing. Truly did he think that he would not have to return to us. Nay, nay, for his Lord was ever watchful of him. So I do call to witness the ruddy glow of sunset, the night and its homing, and the moon in her fullness. Ye shall surely travel from stage to stage. What then is the matter with them, that they believe not? And when the Quran is read to them, they fall not prostrate. But on the contrary, the unbelievers reject it. But Allah has full knowledge of what they secrete in their breasts. So announce to them a chastisement grievous, except to those who believe and work righteous deeds. For them is a reward that will never fail. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the sky with its constellations, by the promised day of judgment, by one that witnesses and the subject of the witness. Woe to the makers of the pit of fire! Fire supplied abundantly with fuel. Behold, they sat over against the fire, and they witnessed all they were doing against the believers. And they ill-treated them for no other reason than that they believed in Allah, exalted in power, worthy of all praise. Him to whom belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is witness to all things. Those who persecute the believers, men and women, and do not turn in repentance, will have the chastisement of hell. They will have the chastisement of the burning fire. For those who believe and do righteous deeds will be gardens, beneath which rivers flow. That is the great triumph. Truly strong is the grip of thy Lord. It is he who creates from the very beginning, and he can restore life, and he is the oft-forgiving, full of loving kindness, Lord of the throne, full of all glory, doer without let of all that he intends. Has the story reached thee of the forces of Pharaoh and the Thamud? And yet the unbelievers persist in rejecting the truth. But Allah doth encompass them from behind. Nay, this is a glorious Quran, inscribed in a tablet preserved. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the sky and the night visitant therein. And what will explain to thee what the night visitant is? It is the star of piercing brightness. There is no soul but has a protector over it. Now let man but think from what he is created. He is created from a drop emitted, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. Surely Allah is able to bring him back to life, the day that all things secret will be tested. Man will have no power and no helper. By the firmament which giveth the returning rain, and by the earth which opens out for the gushing of springs or the sprouting of vegetation. Behold, this is the word that distinguishes good from evil. It is not a thing for amusement. As for them, they are but plotting a scheme. And I am planning a scheme. Therefore grant a delay to the unbelievers. Give respite to them gently for a while. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Glorify the name of thy guardian Lord most high, who has created and further given order and proportion, who hath measured and granted guidance. and who bringeth out the green and luscious pasture, and then doth make it but swarthy stubble. By degrees shall we teach thee the message, so thou shalt not forget, except as Allah wills, for he knoweth what is manifest and what is hidden. And we will make it easy for thee to follow the simple path. Therefore give admonition in case the admonition profits the hearer. He will heed who fears. But it will be provided by the most unfortunate one, who will enter the great fire, in which he will then neither die nor live. But he will prosper who purify himself, and remembers the name of his guardian Lord and prays. Nay, behold, ye prefer the life of this world, but the hereafter is better and more enduring. And this is in the books of the earliest revelation, the books of Abraham and Moses. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Has the story reached thee of the overwhelming event? Some faces that day will be humiliated, labouring hard, weary, the while they enter the blazing fire, the while they are given to drink of a boiling hot spring. No food will there be for them but a bitter dari, which will neither nourish nor satisfy hunger. Other faces that day will be joyful, pleased with their striving, in a garden on high, where they shall hear no word of vanity. Therein will be a bubbling spring. There will be couches raised on high, goblets placed ready, and cushions set in rows, and rich carpets all spread out. Do they not look at the camels, how they are made, and at the sky, how it is raised high, and at the mountains, how they are fixed firm, and at the earth, how it is spread out? Therefore do thou remind, for thou art one to remind. Thou art not one to manage their affairs. But if any turn away and disbelieve, Allah will chastise him with a mighty chastisement. For to us will be their return. Then it will be for us to call them to account. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the dawn, by the 10 nights, by the even and odd contrasted, and by the night when it passeth away. Is there not in these an adjuration or evidence for those who understand? Seest thou not how thy Lord dealt with the Ad people, or the city of Iram, with lofty pillars, the like of which were not produced in all the land, and with the Thamud people, who cut out huge rocks in the valley, and with Pharaoh, lord of stakes. All these transgressed beyond bounds in the lands, and heaped therein mischief on mischief. Therefore did thy Lord pour on them a scourge of diverse chastisements, for thy Lord is watchful. Now, as for man, when his Lord trieth him, giving him honour and gifts, then saith he, puffed up, My Lord hath honoured me. But when he trieth him, restricting his subsistence for him, then saith he in despair, My Lord hath humiliated me. Nay, nay, but ye honour not the orphans, nor do ye encourage one another to feed the poor. And ye devour inheritance, all with greed. And ye love wealth with inordinate love. Nay, when the earth is pounded to powder, and thy Lord cometh, and his angels rank upon rank, and hell that day is brought face to face, on that day will man remember, but how will that remembrance profit him? He will say, wouldst that I had sent forth good deeds for this my future life, for that day his chastisement will be such as none else can inflict, and his bonds will be such as none other can bind. To the righteous soul will be said, O thou soul, in complete rest and satisfaction, come back thou to thy Lord, well pleased thyself, and well pleasing unto him. Enter thou then among my devotees, yea, enter thou my heaven. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Nay, I do swear by this city, and thou art an inhabitant of this city, and the begetter, and that he begot. Verily, we have created man into toil and struggle. Thinketh he that none hath power over him? He may say boastfully, Wealth have I squandered in abundance. Thinketh he that none beholdeth him? Have we not made for him a pair of eyes, and a tongue, and a pair of lips, and shown him the two highways? But he hath made no haste on the path that is steep. And what will explain to thee the path that is steep? It is freeing the bondman, or the giving of food in a day of privation, to the orphan with claims of relationship, or to the indigent down in the dust. Then will he be of those who believe, and enjoin patience, constancy, and self-restraint, and enjoin deeds of kindness and compassion. Such are the companions of the right hand. But those who reject our signs, they are the unhappy companions of the left hand. On them will be fire vaulted over all around. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the sun and his glorious splendor, by the moon as she follows him, by the day as it shows up the sun's glory, by the night as it conceals it, by the firmament and its wonderful structure, by the earth and its wide expanse, by the soul and the proportion and order given to it, and its inspiration as to its wrong and its right. Truly he succeeds that purifies it, and he fails that corrupts it. The Thamud people rejected their prophet through their inordinate wrongdoing. Behold, the most wicked man among them was deputed for impiety. But the messenger of Allah said to them, It is a she-camel of Allah, and bar her not from having her drink. Then they rejected him as a false prophet, and they hamstrung her. So their Lord crushed them for their sin and levelled them, and for him is no fear of its consequences. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the night as it conceals the light, by the day as it appears in glory, by the creation of male and female. Verily, the ends ye strive for are diverse. So he who gives in charity and fears Allah, and in all sincerity testifies to the best, we will indeed make smooth for him the path to ease. But he who is a greedy miser and thinks himself self-sufficient and gives the lie to the best, we will indeed make smooth for him the path to misery, nor will his wealth profit him when he falls headlong into the pit. Verily we take upon us to guide, and verily unto us we belong the end and the beginning. Therefore do I warn you of a fire blazing fiercely. None shall burn therein but those most unfortunate ones, who give the lie to truth and turn their backs. But those most devoted to Allah shall be removed far from it. Those who spend their wealth for increase in self-purification, and have in their minds no favour from anyone for which a reward is expected in return, but only the desire to seek for the countenance of their Lord Most High. And soon will they attain complete satisfaction. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the glorious morning light, and by the night when it is still, thy guardian Lord hath not forsaken thee, nor is he displeased, and verily the hereafter will be better for thee than the present. And soon will thy guardian Lord give thee that wherewith thou shalt be well pleased. Did he not find thee an orphan, and give thee shelter and care? And he found thee wandering, and he gave thee guidance. And he found thee in need, and made thee independent. Therefore, treat not the orphan with harshness, nor repulse him who asks. But the bounty of the Lord rehearse and proclaim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Have we not expanded thee thy breast, and removed from thee thy burden, the which did gall thy back, and raised high the esteem in which thou art held? So, verily, with every difficulty there is relief. Verily, with every difficulty there is relief. Therefore, when thou art free from thine immediate task, still labour hard, and to thy Lord turn all thy attention. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, by the fig and the olive, and the Mount of Sinai, and this city of security. We have indeed created man in the best of moulds. Then do we abase him to be the lowest of the low, except such as believe and do righteous deeds, for they shall have a reward unfailing. What then can after this make you deny the last judgment? Is not Allah the wisest of judges? In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Proclaim or read in the name of thy Lord and Cherisher, who created man out of a leech-like clot. Proclaim, and thy Lord is most bountiful, he who taught the use of the pen, taught man that which he knew not. Nay, but man doth transgress all bounds, in that he looketh upon himself as self-sufficient. Verily, to thy Lord is the return of all. Seest thou one who forbids? A votary when he turns to pray? Seest thou if he is on the road of guidance, or enjoins righteousness? Seest thou if he denies truth and turns away? Knoweth he not that Allah doth see? let him beware. If he desist not, we will drag him by the forelock. A lying, sinful forelock. Then let him call for help to his council of comrades. We will call on the angels of punishment to deal with him. Nay, heed him not, but prostrate in adoration, and bring thyself the closer to Allah. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. We have indeed revealed this message in the night of power, and what will explain to thee what the night of power is? The night of power is better than 1,000 months. Therein come down the angels and the Spirit by Allah's permission on every errand. Peace, this until the rise of morn. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Those who disbelieve among the people of the book and among the polytheists were not going to depart from their ways until there should come to them clear evidence. Messenger from Allah, rehearsing scriptures kept pure and holy, wherein books right and straight. Nor did the people of the book make schisms until after there came to them clear evidence. And they have been commanded no more than this, to worship Allah, offering him sincere devotion, being true in faith, to establish regular prayer, and to give zakat, and that is the religion right and straight. Those who disbelieve among the people of the book and among the polytheists will be in hellfire, to dwell therein for aye. They are the worst of creatures. Those who have faith and do righteous deeds, they are the best of creatures. Their reward is with Allah, gardens of eternity, beneath which rivers flow. They will dwell therein forever. Allah well pleased with them, and they with him. All this for such as fear their Lord and Cherisher. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. When the earth is shaken to her utmost convulsion, and the earth throws up her burdens from within, and man cries distressed, "What is the matter with her?" On that day will she declare her tidings. For that thy Lord will have given her inspiration. On that day will men proceed in groups sorted out, to be shown the deeds that they had done. Then shall anyone who has done an atom's weight of good see it, and anyone who has done an atom's weight of evil shall see it. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the steeds that run with panting breath, and strike sparks of fire, and push home the charge in the morning, and raise the dust in clouds the while, and penetrate forthwith into the midst of the foe en masse. Truly man is, to his Lord, ungrateful, and to that fact he bears witness by his deeds. And violent is he in his love of wealth. Does he not know, when that which is in the graves is scattered abroad, and that which is locked up in human breasts is made manifest, that their Lord had been well acquainted with them even to that day? In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. The day of clamour. What is the day of clamour? And what will explain to thee what the day of clamour is? It is a day whereon men will be like moths scattered about. and the mountains will be like carded wool. Then he whose balance of good deeds will be found heavy will be in a life of good measure and satisfaction. But he whose balance of good deeds will be found light will have his home in a bottomless pit. And what will explain to thee what this is? It is a fire blazing fiercely. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. The mutual rivalry for piling up the good things of this world diverts you from the more serious things, until ye visit the graves. But nay, ye soon shall know the reality. Again, ye soon shall know. Nay, were ye to know with certainty of mind, ye would beware. Ye shall certainly see hellfire. Again, ye shall see it with certainty of sight. Then shall ye be questioned that day about the joy ye indulged in. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the time, verily man is in loss, except such as have faith and do righteous deeds, and join together in the mutual enjoining of truth and of patience and constancy. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Woe to every kind of scandalmonger and backbiter, who pileth up wealth and layeth it by, thinking that his wealth would make him last forever. By no means, he will be sure to be thrown into that which breaks to pieces. And what will explain to thee that which breaks to pieces? It is the fire of Allah kindled to a blaze, the which doth mount right to the hearts. It shall be made into a vault over them, in columns outstretched. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Seest thou not how thy Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant? Did he not make their treacherous plan go astray? And he sent against them flights of birds, striking them with stones of baked clay. Then did he make them like an empty field of stalks and straw, of which the corn has been eaten up. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. For the familiarity of the Quraysh, their familiarity with the journeys by winter and summer, let them adore the Lord of this house, who provides them with food against hunger and with security against fear of danger. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Seest thou one who denies the judgment to come? Then such is the one who repulses the orphan, and encourages not the feeding of the indigent. So woe to the worshippers, who are neglectful of their prayers, those who want but to be seen, but refuse to supply even neighbourly needs. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. To thee have we granted the fount of abundance. Therefore to thy Lord turn in prayer and sacrifice, for he who hateth thee, he will be cut off from future hope. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Say, O ye that reject faith, I worship not that which ye worship, nor will ye worship that which I worship. and I will not worship that which ye have been wont to worship. Nor will ye worship that which I worship. To you be your way, and to me mine. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. When comes the help of Allah and victory? And thou dost see the people enter Allah's religion in crowds. Celebrate the praises of thy Lord and pray for his forgiveness, for he is oft returning in forgiveness. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Perish the hands of the father of flame, perish he. No profit to him from all his wealth and all his gains. Burnt soon will he be in a fire of blazing flame. His wife shall carry the crackling wood as fuel. A twisted rope of palm leaf fibre round her own neck. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Say, He is Allah, the One, Allah, the Eternal, Absolute. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, and there is none like unto him. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of the dawn, from the mischief of created things, from the mischief of darkness as it overspreads, from the mischief of those who blow on knots, and from the mischief of the envious one as he practices envy. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord and Cherisher of mankind, the King or Ruler of mankind, the God or Judge of mankind, from the mischief of the whisperer of evil, who withdraws after his whisper, who whispers into the hearts of mankind, among jinns and among men.